minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, X minus 1. Fire.
Lights out, everybody. The creaking door.
Dimension
Inner Sanctum Mystery.
X minus 1.
Dark fantasy.
Hello everyone, welcome to Sci-Fi and Horror, brought to you by Dwayne Old Time Radio. Sci-Fi and Horror features some of the best programs from the golden age of radio, including X-1, Orbiter X, Dimension X, it's a lot of X's, Lights Out, Ray Bradbury, Dark Fantasy, and many, many more. Before we start today's sci-fi and horror thriller, if you enjoy what I'm doing, let me ask you to subscribe to my channel. Subscribing is 100% free, and you will receive notifications on new posts. Lastly, if you have a moment, please write a short 1 or 2 sentence review or give a rating on your preferred podcast service. A positive review or rating would help me out a lot. And now, on to the show. This week on Sci-Fi and Horror, we have Quiet Please. 2 episodes. The first is titled simply 3, the 23rd episode, November 10th, 1947. Then Kill Me Again, the 24th episode, November 17th, 1947.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called 3.
Practically nobody is named Sebastian. And I have taken in my lifetime a good deal of kidding about my name. Well, Sebastian is an unusual name, and a great many amateur humorists seem to enjoy working on it. And when Evelyn Waugh's Bright's Head Revisited came out, at least 7 of my friends sent me huge teddy bears. If you should happen to need a teddy bear... but I didn't come here to talk about teddy bears. I thought maybe you might help me. Well, at least I can tell you. May I? Well, it's kind of... I suppose you'd say it's an obsession. Well, on the other hand, I guess you have to have a thing quite a while before you could call it an obsession. This has only been bothering me since day before yesterday, so I suppose maybe we'd better call it a premonition. I was walking down the street, and there was absolutely nobody near me. And a voice spoke to me, right in my ear. A very quiet little voice. It just said one word. 3. Did you hear it? Well, you must have heard it. What was it? I tell you, there wasn't anybody near me. There wasn't anybody within a block of me. Well, I thought then I was, hearing things. You know how it is. You think you hear your name called or something, and it's just some kind of subconscious thought that jars its way into whatever you're thinking of, and... Well... Maybe it isn't that either. Maybe somebody does call your name somewhere. I don't know. I suppose I might have forgotten it, except for one thing. I walked on down to the office and I went into the lobby. I stood in front of the elevator. The door opened finally. I got in. Another man got in behind me. He stood right in front of the door in the middle of the car. The operator started to close the door, and the other man spoke. 3. And it suddenly came. It was the same voice. And I was suddenly seized with the most dreadful fear I've ever known. I scrambled past the man as the doors drew together.
Hey, look out, mister. What do you think
Let me out. Let me out.
Well, for Pete's sake, make up your mind, will you?
I stood panting in the corridor, watching the indicator above the door as the car went up. 2, 3.
We haven't found out yet what caused it. Apparently, though, the operator, who was a new man, mishandled the controls at the 3rd floor, and the car dropped down to the sub-basement. There's no way of telling, of course, because the operator was killed. We think we're fortunate, however, that there was nobody else in the car.
Did you hear that? There was nobody else in the car. Well, what about the man who said 3? No. Nothing more happened that first day. I walked upstairs to my office, and I stayed there. I didn't do very well on the job that day. Oh, yes, I forgot something did happen. No, nothing like the elevator thing. It was just the telephone. And it rang 3 times. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No, I know there's nothing unusual about a telephone ringing 3 times, only this one, I picked up the receiver when it rang the first time, and it rang 2 more times. Telephones don't do that. That was all the first day. I went home very carefully. I remember I waited at the corner very conscientiously until the number 3 bus went past. I'll never ride a number 3 bus again. I'll walk the extra 4 blocks and ride the number 12. I was pretty conscious of that number. I saw 3s everywhere. 3 men in the restaurant. I began looking for 3s. Three letters in my mailbox. I found 3s everywhere. 3 pennies fell out of my trousers pocket when I was undressing. 3 of those black wartime ones made out of zinc or something. You don't see many of them these days. They look somehow sinister lying there on the bedspread. 3 black pennies. And all of a sudden I remembered they used to put pennies on dead men's eyes. And then I thought, but there's 3 of them. I haven't got 3 eyes. And you know what? I said to myself, I wonder if maybe I have got 3 eyes. And I walked over to the mirror and looked. No, I haven't got 3 eyes. But you see what a thing like this can do to you? Well, that settled it. I went in the bathroom and I took down the pills and I took 3 of them. And I remembered, just as I was drifting off, that 3 pills are enough to put a man to sleep permanently. But I couldn't do a thing about it then. Oh, no. I didn't go to sleep permanently. I woke up. You guess what time. I didn't sleep anymore. I sat up and smoked cigarettes. When it was daylight at last, I dressed and went out. First, though, I counted the cigarette butts. I'd smoked 1 whole package and 13 besides. You can count it up. And the street was deserted early in the morning. I walked past the movie house. The sign on the marquee said, last 3 days. I went down to the office. Walked all the way. I walked upstairs. This was only 7 o'clock in the morning, mind you. I unlocked the door. And there were 3 men in my office at 7 o'clock in the morning. I just stood there and looked at them.
Good morning, Sebastian.
Who are you?
My name is Lee, Sebastian.
Well, what are you doing in my office at this time of the day?
Sebastian, this is Mr. Dix. Good morning, Sebastian.
I said, what are you doing in my office?
And this is Mr. Gay, Sebastian.
Did you hear me? What are you doing here?
Please, Sebastian.
Will you answer me, or do I have to call an officer?
I think we'll put the desk over here, Dick. I'd like it better along this wall, Lee.
You'll have to have a new rug.
And new draperies.
Listen, you three.
Certainly, Sebastian.
What is it, Sebastian? Speak up, Sebastian.
I want to know what you're doing in my office.
Oh, that.
Don't mind us.
Of course not. Now, about the filing cases, Lee. I don't want them. Do you, Gay?
I'm sure I don't.
What are you doing here? Do you hear me?
Why, Sebastian, we're just looking it over, deciding on the changes.
We don't like it this way.
And what business is it of yours? What are you going
We're going to move in here.
You what?
When you leave.
What are you talking about? I'm not going to leave.
Yes, you are.
I am not.
Certainly you are, Sebastian.
Are you people crazy?
Why, no, Sebastian. Are you?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, and
Sebastian, come here. Over here by the window.
Come on.
No, you're not going to get me to that window. I know what you're up to. I'm going to get a policeman.
Oh, no, Sebastian.
You're wrong.
We're not going to push you out.
I should say you're not.
We don't have to. Of course not.
Just look, Sebastian.
I looked out the window. And right below me was the sign on the movie house I told you about. Big red letters. They said, last 3 days. But I hadn't noticed before, or maybe it wasn't there before. The 3 had a big red X across it, and there was a 2 painted on top of it. And when my eyes had focused again, I turned around. There wasn't anybody in the room but me. Yeah, that's right. The door was closed, and there's only one door. The only thing that was different from the way I'd left it yesterday was the calendar pad on my desk. Well, there were just 3 pages left on it. And the top one had a big red X scrawled across it. I never took a drink in my life before 5 o'clock. I seldom touch the stuff, but I do keep a bottle in my desk for an occasional client who likes a nip in the daytime. I took 2 nips. And I got very brave and very matter-of-fact when I downed the second one. Well, after the third one, I went out in the hall and I walked downstairs. The elevator starter was just coming to work. He looked at me with a very strange expression when the whiskey and I spoke to him in a loud voice about 3 strange men invading an office at 7 in the morning. And then he asked me, more or less politely, to describe the men. Do you know, I couldn't remember a single thing about any one of the 3. He looked at me as if I were crazy. And I remembered what Dix had said.
No, we're not crazy, Sebastian. Are you?
I don't know. Maybe I am. A man can't be haunted by a number, can he? Or can he? You remember what I told you about being careful about the number 3 bus? Well, a number 3 bus rammed into a light standard last night and caught on fire. No, only one man was killed. I saw his picture in the paper. I thought there was something familiar about his face. And then it came to me. I walked over to the mirror above the washstand in the corner. Why, the man looked enough like me to be my twin brother. Or to be me, for that matter. What is this thing? So then I sat down at the desk and I thought some more. Maybe I've been working too hard. Maybe... Well, anyway, I got to do something about it. Yeah, but what? I'll call up Dr. Mandel, I say to myself. Dr. Mandel can tell me if I'm going crazy. Or what. Give me the phone. Now, let's see. What's his number? 4087.
Good morning. May we be of service to you?
said good morning. May we be of service to you?
Is this Dr. Mandel's office?
Oh, my, no, sir.
Is this 4087?
This is the Beveridge Funeral Parlor, sir.
The what?
The undertaker, sir.
Isn't this 4087?
No, sir. This is 3333.
How did I get that number? I couldn't miss it that much. 4087.
Good morning. May we be of service to you?
Who is this?
You dialed 3333, sir. This is the Beveridge Funeral Parlor.
I'm sorry. I can't be that drunk. Huh.
Good morning. May we be of service to you?
Oh, but I'm sure going to be. Where's that bottle?
This is the telephone company. Look here. There's an insane man who keeps dialing this number and telling me it's the wrong one. Can't you put a stop to it? For 3 solid hours now he's been ringing this number, and we have clients of our own to take care of. Well, I don't care what you do, but stop that man.
No matter what I dialed, it always came out 3333. I called Dr. Mandel. I called the police. I called my Uncle Hubert. And always there was that man with a fat voice wanting to be of service.
Good morning. May we be of service to you?
That was yesterday. Today. Oh, yes, I woke up at 3 this morning. There was somebody in my bed. No, I know. I'm getting awfully tired of these things happening to me, too. But you should complain. Well, they're not happening to you. All I want from you is a little sympathy. Or at least the chance to tell my story. Just tell my story. I'm sorry. No, really, I'm sorry. This stuff is beginning to get me down. Beginning? It's got me down. I don't know what's happening to me. Either somebody's trying to make me lose my mind and commit suicide or something, or it's true. All I can hear is...
3 men.
3 days. And now there's only 1 day left. And the second leaf of my calendar pad had a big red X on it this morning. And everywhere I go, things happen in threes. I hear streetcar gongs. I hear automobile horns. I hear knocks on doors. I hear noises in my head. And all of a sudden I remembered I heard on the radio that there's going to be a radio program tonight called 3. What are they doing to me? Help me, please. Do something. Please, please, please. You hear that? You hear the way I'm talking? You hear me?
Sebastian.
Look, I can't stand it any longer. I've got to do something. Well, it'll be 3 o'clock in just a little while, and I know that's going to be the deadline. Well, I know it. So do you know it, don't you? Who is it that hates me? Who is it that's going to get me? Is it you? All right. All right, I know what I'll do. I'm going in here. I'm going to have a drink. You stay out there, all 3 of you. I walk inside. The bartender is standing behind the bar. Hello, bartender.
Hello, Sebastian.
How did you know my name?
Well, you told it to me.
I did? When did I tell it to you?
Well, last night.
Last night? I wasn't here last night.
Well, this morning, then.
Why, I wasn't here. I've never been here before.
Oh, now, Sebastian. You got a hangover?
Oh, no, I don't remember.
Well, sure, you was in here with them 3 men.
What 3 men?
You know, the fellas with the funny names.
funny names.
Yeah, you know, all three of them with the three-letter names.
Dix?
Sure. Dix, Lee, and Gay. The 3 threes.
When was this, bartender?
3 o'clock this morning.
I'm trying to pull myself together. I try hard. But my head is all mixed up. I'm getting scared, bartender.
What you scared of, Sebastian?
3.
3?
Just 3.
Oh, that reminds me.
What?
Fella telephoned just before you came in. Said he'd be here at 3 o'clock. Coincidence, huh?
Who?
I didn't say. Said if you wanted to call him back, call him at 3333.
Yes. I know who he is.
You want a drink?
No, I guess not.
No?
Just talk to me, will you?
Sure, Sebastian. Till 3 o'clock.
What?
Your friends will be here then.
Oh, I'm scared.
Why?
Somebody's after me.
That's so.
What am I going to do?
Well, I don't know anything you can do, Sebastian.
Look, talk to me. Talk to me. Take my mind off it.
What'll I talk about?
Anything. Anything except... anything.
Well, let's see.
Talk. Talk, I'm scared.
Well, let's see now. Well, you take names.
Names?
Sure, like yours, for instance. Sebastian. It's a very odd name. I think I only seen it once before in my life.
Where?
On a gravestone somewhere.
Don't talk like that.
Well, it is an odd name.
It's unusual.
Names have got a lot of meaning.
Yeah, yes. Mine means to be reverenced, I think.
Does it? Ain't that odd now?
Ain't it?
You still scared?
Talk some more.
I'm talking.
What time is it?
A little before 3.
Talk!
Well, talking about names now. I got a funny name, too, for a bartender.
You have?
For a bartender.
What is it?
You are scared, ain't you?
Why are you looking at me so funny?
Well, it's pretty near 3.
Bartender, what's all this about 3?
Well, I was going to tell you a funny coincidence.
Talk. Talk, please talk.
Well, you're so worried about this 3
Talk,
stuff.
will you? Talk to me.
Well, I was going to tell you about my name.
Well, what is your name? Is it Joe or Tom or Harry or Charlie or Aloysius or Alcibiades or Mike or what?
That's what's so funny. It's Dry.
Dry? Oh, that's very funny. Oh, that's extremely funny. Oh, that's funny, bartender. A bartender named Dry. a dry bartender. Oh, well, sir, that sure is funny.
Yeah, but of course that ain't the way you spell it, see?
What?
No, you see, it's a German name.
Is it?
Yeah, sure. Spelled D-R-E-I. It means 3, you know.
No more 3. No more 3. No more bartender named Dry. What do you suppose it was? I'm never going to hear any more 3s again, am I? Oh, yes, I am. You remember? When the judge says to be hanged by the neck until dead.
You have listened to Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper. The man who spoke to you was Ernest Chappell.
And others who played in tonight's story were Les Tremaine, Vinton Hayworth, Cameron Prudhomme, and Kermit Murdoch. Music for Quiet Please, as usual, is composed and played by Gene Parasso. Now, for a word about next week's Quiet Please, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Next week, our story is about a man who couldn't escape his fate. It's called Kill Me Again.
And so, until next week at the same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell.
Quiet Please comes to you from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and which features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called Kill Me Again.
You ever hear anybody say, I'd sell my soul for this, that, or the other? Well, not very many people really mean it when they say it. Unfortunately, I did. And I found a buyer. No, nothing very exciting. No crashes of thunder, no red fire. Now, the doorbell just rang, and when I opened the door, there was a worried little-looking man standing there. I said, well?
I understand you have some property for sale, Mr. Davies.
Who are you?
I'm Mr. Hellman, Mr. Davies. May I come in?
Mr. Hellman came in. Mr. Hellman sat down nervously. Mr. Hellman didn't have much time, it appeared, but Mr. Hellman had the $1 million in currency that I had named as my price for my soul. And he also had a bill of sale, neatly typed in triplicate. No, it didn't seem odd at all. That's why I suggest you never mention aloud that you'd be willing to dispose of your own immortal soul for this, that, or the other thing. Well, Mr. Hellman gets around. And he's a mighty sharp businessman, for all his apparent nervousness. So Mr. Hellman got up and went to the door.
Well, good night, Mr. Davis. It's a pleasure to do business with you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hellman.
I'll be seeing you soon, then.
Hey, close the door, Mr. Hellman. But Mr. Hellman had gone on out, and me with $1 million in currency, well, I hopped to the door to close it fast. Not fast enough, though. Well, there were two men there with revolvers. I didn't get a chance to say a word. They both fired, and I saw them run down the hallway with my beautiful new $1 million. I tried to yell, but, well, I couldn't. And I turned around. There I was, lying on the floor, all bloody. Mr. Hellman spoke to my ear.
Well, I guess you can come along now, Mr. Davis. I kept my bargain. Now you keep yours.
So that's how come I was sitting a little while later in a little dark room with Mr. Hellman. There wasn't much light in there. What light there was seemed to come from way up high near the ceiling and sort of flickered, like the light that comes from a fireplace. Mr. Hellman was sitting at a desk looking at me, and his eyes seemed to dart all around the room, but, well, maybe that was from the flickering light. He didn't say anything for a long while, and just sat there and bit his fingernails. And then he spoke.
Well, Mr. Davis.
This is a dirty trick you pulled on me.
The contract didn't say anything about your keeping the money, Mr. Davis.
Oh, yes, but I assumed...
Now, Mr. Davis, you must never assume things when there's a written contract. You should have read it.
Well, I hadn't any idea you were going to pull this kind of a trick.
Most people who deal with me haven't.
Well, I won't stand for it.
You won't?
No, I won't.
You can't do anything about it.
Why, that contract wouldn't hold up in a court of law.
What court of law?
Well,
Now, come, Mr. Davis. You're going to be here a long, long time, and you might just as well get used to doing as I say.
Well, what do I have to do then?
Yes, well, I must confess, I acted rather hastily in your case.
You mean you're going to let me out of here, then?
Oh, my, no. No.
But I haven't done anything.
No, that's what's got me puzzled, Mr. Davis. My. Why don't I think?
Think what?
Well, I may as well confess. You see, most of the people who make an arrangement with me about their souls, as you did, are due to come here anyway, eventually.
I don't get it.
I mean, they've already committed a crime or a sin or whatever you like, enough to qualify them for our little institution. And so the transaction really doesn't mean anything except to expedite their arrival. Do you see?
You mean you cheat them? You gyp them?
Oh, come now, Mr. Davis. Business is business.
I suppose so. But what's that got to do with me?
A great deal, Mr. Davis. Your soul belongs to me, according to the terms of our contract, you see. But you haven't committed any sins, according to my records. So you're in a very strange position.
I don't get it.
Why, you see, you're a regular inmate now, Mr. Davis, but I can't send you out to the fire department or any of the other departments like the rest of our guests because you're not qualified. It's very, very distressing.
Yes. Yes, it must be.
Yes, it's very, very, very distressing. I am really ashamed of myself.
I feel awful sorry for you, Mr. Hellman.
Dear me, I've been running this place for so long, and I've never had a slip-up before. Believe me, if this gets around... Mr. Davis, promise me one thing.
What?
Promise me you'll never say a word about this to anybody around here.
Well, that depends on how I'm treated, Mr. Hellman.
Oh, dear, I knew you'd take advantage of me.
Well, I'm a businessman, too, Mr. Hellman.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
You said you never had a slip-up before?
Never once. Never once in ever so many years. Never once.
Well, how about Dante? He was down here.
Dante? Oh, you mean that Italian fellow with the long robe?
Or a wreath of leaves on his head.
Oh, yes, I remember him. I remember him quite well. This place was a mess for weeks after he was here.
Well, you let him out.
I had to. He was a visitor, you see. He was alive.
I see.
And you know what that man did? He wrote a book about this place. And what that book did to business. Why, do you know business fell off 13% the very first year?
That's awful, Mr. Hellman.
You have no idea what I went through.
I am a writer, too.
Mr. Davis, allow me to call your attention to the fact that I have a very special department in this place for writers.
Oh?
A very, very special department. Yes, remind me to show you someday the lovely little apartment in there that I fixed up especially for Mr. Dante.
Well, isn't he here?
That sissy, he didn't have the basic, ordinary human decency to afford me an opportunity to welcome him back. Not Mr. Dante. He lived an exemplary life and died full of virtue, the coward.
Well.
Yes, but that doesn't solve my problem with you.
I can wait, Mr. Hellman.
Yes, well, doubtless I'll find something for you to do, Mr. Davis. And in the meantime, just feel free to go anywhere. I'll let you know when I want you.
You won't let me out, then?
Oh, dear, no, Mr. Davis. Dear, no. Business is business. The same here as everywhere else. Yes, it's the very devil, isn't it, Mr. Davis? Yes. Well, bye-bye. I'll see you later, and don't get into any mischief.
Well, I felt quite perky as I wandered around Mr. Hellman's remarkable institution. Well, who wouldn't? Well, I'd had a pretty tough time on Earth. There were plenty of times when I'd wondered where the next meal was coming from. Well, I had $1 million, even if it was for only a few minutes, and there aren't very many people in the world who can say that. And now here I was, a non-paying permanent guest, and Mr. Hellman himself admitted he couldn't do anything about it. Just that alone was enough to make me feel pretty smart and pretty smug. Especially when I'd catch Mr. Hellman's expression occasionally out of the corner of an eye. You know, Mr. Hellman's a very hard person to outwit. Well, people have been trying to do it ever since, ever since. And now look who did it. Little old Joe Davis, the guy that never had a nickel. The guy that sold his soul and made a profit on it. Well, I was smart to do my laughing early. No, Mr. Hellman's ingenious. When I think of some of the things he had people doing. My, oh, my. Well, I'd seen enough of the place to decide that I was a very, very lucky fella. And also to wish I'd never made this deal. So I can say definitely that I wasn't happy. Mr. Hellman saw that, too. And he talked to me about it.
Mr. Davis, you're not happy.
No, I'm not, Mr. Hellman.
Well, I'm not either.
Well, yes, but you can do something about it. I can.
You're a disturbing influence here.
Well, I can't help that. You brought me here.
You're ruining the morale here.
How?
Well, you keep telling my staff members how you outsmarted me on this deal.
No, I don't. I tell them how you outsmarted yourself.
Well, I want you to stop it.
Mr. Hellman, I'm an unwilling guest here, you know.
Don't I know it?
Well, why don't you do something about it?
I want you to stop carrying tales about me, or...
Or what, Mr. Hellman?
Mr. Davis, you want to get out of here, don't you?
I certainly do.
Now, Mr. Davis, if I let you out of here, would you stop being mean to me?
Oh, trying to bribe me, huh?
Yes, I am, Mr. Davis, on a purely business basis, you understand.
Okay. Okay, what's the basis?
Well, of course, I should expect something in return.
Well, I said I wouldn't talk about you if you'd let me out.
You'll have to do a little better than that.
Well, anything within reason.
Good. Now, see here, I do have a contract with you, don't I?
As if I'd forget that.
Yes, quite. We mustn't forget it. Now, Mr. Davis, tell me, have you ever considered murder?
Murder?
Exactly.
No, I've never considered murder, Mr. Hellman. And if you think you're going to suck me into committing a crime so you can put me out there with the other boys and girls... Oh, no, Mr. Hellman, really, I did think you were smarter than that. Why, even after the way you messed up this other deal between
Now,
us.
don't rub it in, Mr.
Well,
Davis.
I mean...
You see, I could give you leads. All you'd have to do is appear on Earth and sort of stick around, giving these various people an opportunity to murder you. And then, well, you see, they automatically qualify for a place here.
Well, I got murdered once, thank you.
You're quite welcome, I'm sure. Now, what about it? Solves both our problems, doesn't it?
Well, what happens after I get murdered?
Oh, you come back here until I have another assignment for you.
I come back here?
Of course. I want this to be a home for you, Mr. Davis.
No.
You have a very nice, comfortable apartment, Mr. Davis, and no work whatever to do, you know.
Yeah, I don't like it, though.
Why, Mr. Davis, you might have to give up your comfortable apartment, you know, if you're not cooperative.
Oh, threatening me, huh?
Oh, no. But the shortage, you know.
You'd kick me out in the cold.
Oh, not the cold, dear. No, Mr. Davis, not the cold.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Mr. Davis, do you remember what strawberry shortcake tastes like?
Oh, God.
Do you remember the blue sky with white, fleecy clouds floating in it on a summer afternoon? Green grass, trees. Remember the sound of dogs barking at night?
Going swimming in the ocean. And snow. Beautiful white snow.
Rain. Lovely, cool rain at the end of a hot August day.
A new suit of clothes. Apple pie.
Listening to music with a beautiful girl by your
Going
side.
fishing at Tomahawk Lake.
Radio, movie. Oh, my, I shouldn't have said that.
A cold glass of beer.
What do you say, Mr. Davis?
Mr. Hellman, you've sold a bill of goods.
Just sign here, Mr. Davis. Why, Mr. Davis, you're back so quick.
Why, darn it, I never had a chance. Is this the kind of a deal you made with me? I'm done, Hellman.
Oh, Mr. Davis, but you did beautifully.
I just opened the door and the guy plugged me.
I know. He was much hastier than I expected.
I didn't get a chance to do a thing. Just bang, bang, that's all, and I'm saying hello, Mr. Hellman.
Yes, that's too bad, Mr.
Well, I haven't been gone 15 minutes.
Well, you got excellent results. He'll be down here before you know it, and you and he will have a good many laughs over it before I give him his assignment.
Yeah.
Well, now, shall we try again, Mr. Davis?
We shall not.
Oh, but, Mr. Davis, I'm afraid you'll have to.
What? Why?
You signed an agreement, Mr. Davis. My, will you never learn to read things before you sign them?
Well, this time it wasn't so bad. For a while. Well, I was smart. I never went near the fella for 2 months. And I lived like a king. I will say this, Mr. Hellman, he's generous with an expense account. Of course, some people say that all the money there is belongs to him, but, well, they're willing to take it regardless. Mr. Hellman was all right about it. He didn't rush me. And I'd begun to wonder how long I could get away with it. Well, I'd say I had a lot of money. I went a lot of places, putting this thing off as long as I could. And I was having fun. I got ideas. Well, you see, I'd met this girl. Oh, sure, a girl comes into any story sooner or later. I never had a girl in my previous life before Mr. Hellman, so I was nuts about this one. I remember I got very sentimental with her. Kind of forgot, I guess. It was a beautiful night with a million stars. We'd been dancing on an outdoor terrace. I really did forget who I was.
Sure is a beautiful night, isn't it?
The stars.
You could just reach up and touch them.
Make you feel romantic?
Kind of.
Me too.
Let's stay out here a while.
I was hoping you'd say that.
You were? Why?
Don't you know?
'Cause it's cool?
No.
'Cause you're tired dancing?
No.
Why?
You.
Me?
Yes. I love you.
Oh, now look. Don't be ridiculous.
I'm not. I love you.
Oh, listen, dear.
I love you.
Listen, I said.
Well?
Look, you're nice to be around with, and you spend your money, and you take me places, and I have kind of fun with you. But that's as far as it goes.
Well,
No, skip it.
Well, I tell you
Why do you have to be so serious? Don't spoil everything.
But I thought that
I know what you thought. You thought I was falling for you. Well, I'm not.
Darling, I want to marry you.
Marry you? Why, you old fool. Marry you.
Darling, please listen to me.
Look, Pops, I don't want to be mean to you, but after all, you're old enough to be my father. And I don't want to hear any more about it. Now, do you want to go back in and dance, or do you want to get me a taxi and let me go home?
And as she stood there laughing at me, I thought I heard someone else laughing, and it sounded like Mr. Hellman.
You're wasting time, Mr. Davies. Better get to work, hadn't you?
So I went to see my prospect. And it wasn't very hard feeling the way I did. I'm old enough to be her father, am I? It wasn't very difficult to taunt him into drawing a revolver. So I got murdered for the third time, and Mr. Hellman had a new inmate, and it didn't hurt very much after all. And I wondered how that girl felt about it. Well, I had a nice apartment down there in Mr. Hellman's place, but I didn't get much time to use it. That's one thing you want to remember about making a bargain with Mr. Hellman. Well, the bargain part of it is always on his side. I brought in 26 new customers, and, well, then I thought it was time for a vacation. Well, after all, you try getting murdered 26 times. Why, it wears you out. I had scars all over me. So I spoke to Mr. Hellman. Mr. Hellman, I said, I need a vacation. I've been working awful hard, Mr. Hellman, and I'm worn out. Why, Mr. Hellman, I said, I've got so there isn't any place left to shoot me without going through an old bullet hole.
Why, I'm awfully sorry, Mr. Davis, but a bargain is a
But
bargain.
look, I tell you,
Sorry, Mr. Davis, but business is business. You cost me $1 million.
But I never got a cent of it.
I'm sure you realize that that's not my fault, Mr. Davis.
Are you sure about that, Mr.
I
Hellman?
don't care to discuss it, Mr. Davis. Now, here is another very good prospect that I want you to see just as soon as possible.
Well, I won't do it.
Mr. Davis, must I take steps? Now, about this black market chap.
Well, I hadn't had any rest for so long. I was so fed up with this Mr. Hellman and the job he forced me into. I said to myself, I'm going to double-cross you, Mr. Hellman. I'm going to get some rest somehow. Somehow. So I walked into this black marketeer's office. He seemed to be a rather nice fellow.
How do you do, young man? What can I do for you?
I don't want anything.
An automobile?
No, thanks.
Well, a washing machine.
Now, what could I do with a washing machine?
Change a $1,000 bill for you?
No.
Well, an apartment, maybe.
An apartment? Say, that I could use.
It's a deal, sir. Just look at this. 4 rooms. Bath newly decorated, daily maid service, modern kitchen. Finest apartment in the city. How about it?
How much?
Strictly ceiling price, sir. Long-term lease.
I'll take it.
But,
Yes?
you'll have to buy the drapers in the apartment.
Oh, that's all right. How much?
Oh, that'll be, let me see, $10,000.
I was standing over him with the smoke still wreathing its way upward out of my revolver, and he was as dead as a doornail on the thick green rug. The door opened, and I turned around.
Well, Mr. Davis.
Hellman.
Mr. Hellman Davis. Well, now you have been and gone and done it, haven't
Did you hear what he was trying to sell me?
Mr. Davis, I hope you realize that your days as a guest in my institution are over.
You mean I don't have to go back now?
My, he certainly is dead. You're a very good shot, Mr. Davis.
Well, he made me so mad
yes,
that
indeed. What were you saying about not having to come back?
Did you mean I don't have to come back now, Mr. Hellman?
Why, Mr. Davis.
What?
Why, Mr. Davis, don't you see what you've done? I knew eventually you'd do something like this. Temper, Mr. Davis.
What are you talking about?
Why, Mr. Davis, I knew someday you'd commit a crime, commit a sin, Mr. Davis. Why, certainly you're coming back, Mr. Davis, after the law gets through with you.
Mr. Hellman, listen, sir.
I'm afraid you're never going to be a businessman, Mr. Davis. I have such interesting things for you to do the next couple of million years.
Who's that?
Why, that, Mr. Davis, I suspect is the officers come to take you to jail, where they will eventually send you back to me.
No.
I'll be seeing you, Mr. Davis. Kill me again. Kill me again.
You have listened to Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper. Mr. Davis, the man who spoke to you, was Ernest Chappell.
And Mr. Hellman was played by James Monks. The girl was played by Peggy Stanley. And the black marketeer was Pat O'Malley. Music for Quiet Please is composed and played by Gene Perazzo. Now, for a word about next week's Quiet Please, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Next week's story is a simple story of a man and a woman who loved each other and what happened to them. It's called In Memory of Bernadine.
And so, until next week at this same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please came to you from New York. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy what I'm doing, I ask you to please subscribe to my channel or channels. Well, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay safe, wish you well, peace.